really big question to ask yourself if you're feeling that, no, life is kind of getting on top of me is, what are we tolerating in our lives? What are the things that are happening in our lives that actually, they don't need to be like that. We can change it. And sometimes it's a simple change. Well, joining me in the studio to talk about this, the wonderful Tanya Unkovich. Thanks for joining me on the show.
You are welcome, Diane. Hello.
Hello. So, I mean, a big question. What are you tolerating in your life?
What am I tolerating in my life? For me, it's often something really small, like sweeping all the leaves off the step that I've been walking over for like 3 or 4 days.
True.
You know?
Yeah, it is. It's those little things, right? For me, it's my overstuffed inbox for emails.
Emails.
It's a shocker.
Oh.
But I just tolerate
Am I in there?
it. You'll be in there a lot, Tanya. I don't delete anything. Let's just say that. So, I mean, maybe we tolerate these things because they don't bother us, but actually sometimes they can bother us on an unconscious level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not until you have uncluttered, decluttered, picked up, sorted it out, responded, do you actually then go, that was just so easy. Why did I procrastinate for so long?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why is it that we procrastinate? Because we think or feel that by doing that task, it's going to feel uncomfortable. However, what we are tolerating is the discomfort of not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. For me in my email, it doesn't bother me until I can't find something, right? So it's often that case. It's not going to bother you, those leaves, until perhaps it starts creating a nasty kind of dirty look on your front, out the front. I mean, it's all those sorts of things that you don't see it until it becomes a problem, right?
Yes. And you know, when you tolerate little things like that on a regular basis, then soon those little things, they get bigger. Or you start tolerating bigger things.
Okay.
And then soon you're tolerating things that actually really are intolerable. But you've built up this pattern of just tolerating stuff. So why not start with cleaning up some of the small stuff, and then that will give you the courage to go, you know what, that wasn't so hard. I'm going to sort this really major issue out that I'm just putting up with, and it's just stopping me from going from where I am now to where I really want to be.
So this is something that you talk about quite a bit with various clients, and you said that it's actually kind of really eye-opening for them. What sort of things do you see in other people that they're tolerating? What are some examples, perhaps?
Well, with regards to personal things, it is I'm really tolerating the fact that I don't create really nice meals for myself. I just eat on the run. I eat rubbish. I don't take the time. I've got plenty of time, but I don't do it. And as a result of eating rubbish, I don't feel good. And as a result of eating the rubbish, I'm, carrying extra pounds. I'm tolerating these extra pounds. And these extra pounds are actually stopping me from doing some of that other physical stuff. It's stopping me from getting into my lovely wardrobe. And it's all because it started with a little toleration.
It started off small and it grew,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think that is certainly something that a lot of us can identify in our lives, perhaps with food or exercise.
Yes.
We get out of the habit of doing exercise. We tolerate that. It's easy, and then it's a lot harder to get back into it, isn't it?
Yeah. And also things to do with, say, your office desk at home. Many people are working from home now. They're not used to working from home, so they're not used to having things in order, so things are scattered all over the place. So if you're tolerating this cluttered desk, then chances are you won't be feeling in such a great state when you're sitting down to do your work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For me, I like to have a nice tidy desk, and then when I write, then it flows differently. But if my desk is cluttered everywhere and I've got cat hair everywhere, then it's not going to be so good. So there's lots of examples of little things that we tolerate, but then again, there are big things that we tolerate.
Can we talk about some of the big ones? Because
Yeah.
they are harder to address. I
Yes.
mean, an over-cluttered inbox is one thing, but when you're talking about big things like a toxic relationship, that's massive, right?
It is massive. And a lot of people, as we talked about last week, don't realise that they are tolerating actually really unkind behaviour. They're tolerating very subtle levels of abuse. They're tolerating someone else's dirt around the home. They are tolerating being disrespected by their partner. But you see, it may have started with a small thing. It may have even just started with a joke, and you were the subject of the joke. And then eventually it becomes worse and worse and worse because you've allowed it, you've tolerated it, and now you're in a relationship that is really unhealthy.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a big thing to start addressing, but if someone is at that point where they're like, actually, perhaps I am in one of those toxic relationships, you don't want to tolerate that.
You sure do not. And, how much longer are you going to tolerate it for? And if you keep tolerating it for another 12 months, what's it going to look like then?
So let's talk about when you discover something. And look, I think it is important to address the small stuff as well as the big stuff because, like you say, some of the small stuff actually can lead up to bigger things. Finances, that's one that can lead to something becoming out of control.
Yeah. Well, you just imagine if you've got an issue with addiction, with gambling addiction, let's say, or just you're dabbling. I'm just going to the pokies. I'm just doing this. Soon $10 will be $100, will be more and more and more the more you get into it, because the more you lose, the more you think, I've got to get that back. So that's how addictions start too. I can just have a little bit. I can just have one more drink.
I can tolerate this.
Yep.
You tolerate it now, it may actually become quite a problem for the future.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we start addressing some of the things, whether it be some of the small things to some of the big things. I think sometimes we get to the point where we need an action plan. We need to start working on whatever that thing is. We don't want to tolerate it anymore. How do we start on this action plan, Tanya?
Well, get a pen and paper out and start writing down at least 3 to 5 things that you are tolerating. Number 1, with yourself and your health, in your home, in your work environment, especially if you're in business. What are 3 to 5 things that you might be tolerating in your relationships? Could be your intimate relationship, community, whatever. They may be small, but then again, they could be big. But you know what? If you want to just start really small too, what are some of the things in my home that I know if I decluttered and stopped tolerating, I would feel better? The truth is, all you need is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes, you can get a lot done. If you did 10 minutes a day for a week, that's just over an hour.
Don't make it sound so simple, Tanya.
But the thing is, it is.
I have got areas that are a mess, that I sort of go, oh, that's my clutter shelf. You're telling me in 10 minutes I could try and fix that thing.
Well, change the name of it to start with.
I just chuck stuff in.
That's your tidy shelf.
Okay. I'll take a photo of it before and after, and I'll let you know how it goes, Tanya. Yeah. So, these are really good because this is, making a list for a lot of us feels like we're on the first step at least to creating some lasting change.
And then you simply do it. And look, it may be something as simple as I'm tolerating a pair of shoes that is so worn they are hurting my feet. I'm tolerating the light bulb not being changed. I'm tolerating the kitty litter box that should be cleaned. Whatever. It could be small, but some of those things, are quite personal too. I'm tolerating an outfit that I really don't feel good in, but I'm too mean to go and buy myself something else.
Yeah.
Those things are to do with self-worth. So be kind to yourself and do some nice things for yourself, even if it means chucking out some old clothing.
Yeah. So important, right? And I think maybe where we could end is you're doing this to be kind to yourself, right?
Yes.
To say, actually, I'm worth more than this.
I want to feel better.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Tanya, thank you so much for being on the show today. People can check out your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Some great resources on there, right?
All of our past interviews are there, so
Excellent.
Go and check them out.
Thanks, Tanya.
Bye.